and of both. I had that program I was in for 28 days. I came out of there on one set of medication. It was in Virginia. I went to North Carolina, different state. They don't recognize prescriptions from a different state, so I had to go to a doctor in North Carolina to get re-prescribed medication.
That's weird.
He looked at my list of medications and he said, "That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. They
Yeah.
completely mismedicated you." He goes, "You need this, this, and this." And he put me on a ton of lithium and a ton of Depakote and a ton of something else and something else. There was like four different medications. It was a ton. He went, it's like 1,200 milligrams of Depakote and 700 milligrams of lithium and who knows what else. And it had me just completely messed up.
Those
I
are
was
pretty
I was a
heavy
mess.
drugs.
Pretty heavy hitter.
Yeah,
Yeah.
lithium is that
And
antipsychotic, and yeah,
yes, ma'am. And Depakote's basically, synthetic
it's like a
lithium.
dope. Oh, oh, so
Depakote is basically synthetic lithium. Instead of it being a natural element, lithium is a natural element found in the ground that they use for medical benefits that's toxic at a certain level. There's only so much you can take and handle. Depakote
right,
is
right.
pretty much the same thing except a synthetic version that doesn't have the same toxicity but has the same benefits. But the two of them together, who knows where you're going with it. And I was getting 1,800 milligrams of Depakote, 1,200 milligrams of lithium, plus trazodone, plus whatever else they were throwing at me.
Wow.
I was a train wreck. And he took everything I came out of Virginia with, which was Lubotrin, which is Wellbutrin, Celexa,
Yeah,
um,
yeah.
Lanacane or something. There was two
I'm
other.
familiar with a lot of these. So yeah,
And,
yeah.
and he took those and said, "That's just madness. That's completely wrong. Here, take this. And this is the way you should be doing it." And he wouldn't listen to me. He wouldn't listen to anything I said. He blew off the 28-day program, which the 28-day program was both diagnosis and medication. They tried different medications with you and talked to you every day about them and how you were feeling and tried to make adjustments
Right.
to hopefully have you come out of there close to right. Maybe not right, because that 28 days ain't long. That doctor threw it out. His arrogance made him tell me that they were completely nuts. And I had to be mature enough to go, I need a different doctor. And I need to tell them what's
Yeah,
going on.
that's hard. That's hard.
Which was my point. My
They,
point is you have to be able to tell a doctor, if he won't listen
yeah,
to you in person, then you got to be able to tell yourself, I need to find a different doctor because this is not working for me.
yeah, 100%. I've gone through a lot of doctors as well. um, Now they have different a test. It's a pharmacologic. Let me get this right now. Pharmacogenic testing, where they take your genetics and they do genetic test blood work up on you to see which psychiatric medications will work based on your genetics. And why they don't use that right off the hop is beyond me, because they've had this around for quite some time now. But they have to do the due diligence kind of thing, right? Let's try 16 different medications first to see how sick we can make you feel. And and then we'll and then we'll give you the blood test when we can't figure it out. Have you ever heard of something like that? And if you have you
It,
considered
I
doing
haven't
that?
had I haven't got there because we seem to have gotten it figured out now, not by accident but by trial and error. By six
Yeah,
years of
trial and error,
I couldn't possibly
due
list
diligence.
the medications. I couldn't possibly list them all. I've been on so
Yeah,
many different
I can
medications
imagine.
for in all different doses for so long to finally get to where I'm at now. But I will say, here's the thing, a saying that I go. First of all, if the person that graduates first at medical school and the first person that graduates last at medical school both have the same title. They're both doctor. We have to realize that. We have to realize there's the tops in his class and there's the bottom of the class. But they're both doctors as long as they graduate. They're not all the same. There's also doctors that have been doctors for many years, came out with their certifications, and they're out there practicing, and they don't do a whole lot of updating. They don't learn on the fly. When it comes to mental health, the reason why psychiatrists have to be MDs before they become psychiatrists is because they need to understand how to be. Every psychiatrist was a certified doctor before they became a psychiatrist. It's a
Medical
step up
doctor. They're
because
medical.
it's
Yes,
getting
they're
into
medical
yeah, it's getting into the brain,
doctors.
and we don't know anything about the brain. We don't know any. There's estimates that typically it's 7%, 10%, 15%. Who knows? Not much. We haven't figured out a whole lot about the brain yet. We're trying. We're trying a lot of different things. and it's getting better, I
Yeah,
think,
well,
hopefully.
maybe. I mean, I know that I worked in geriatrics as a teenager doing with a program, and the program coordinator there asked me if I would be interested in helping them run this musical therapy program that they were starting to see how that would be for the people with dementia and Alzheimer's disease. And so, I mean, that's 30, 25, 30, 30 years ago now, 35 years. Oh my God, I'm old. um, and so they have been looking at different ways to treat the brain over a very long period of time, but it doesn't seem like they've gotten very far. When I look at research papers, and there's a lot of different drugs been developed in that time, but the actual knowledge that they have in the medical community from the research is still about the same. I mean, they have
Most,
the live MRIs now where they can see that neurons can make new pathways and reconnect. So if is damage there is the possibility of reconnecting neurons through a different pathway, like forming a new pathway around the damage. So they have been able to see that. That is a possibility. But how does it work? They don't know. I don't know that they'll ever know.
and you have to. Here in the United States. I know you guys are in Canada. We have John Hopkins. We
Yeah,
have the Mayo Clinic.
yeah,
We have Stanford Med. We have Michigan Med. Some of our better
yeah,
facilities that draw the best and the brightest there. Natural human instinct for most people is to get a little bit lazy. There's a lot of work involved in keeping up. There's a lot of work involved in trying to stay up to date on everything. There's a lot of work involved in trying to keep up with everything coming out and stay on top of it. Sometimes it's easier to just go off and then wherever the heck you're at and have your little practice with your little however many people and take on a new patient maybe once a month, if that, and not really, and they're usually patients coming from somewhere else, and you really don't have to do a whole lot. You don't have to grow a lot. You don't even stick your nose in a journal of medicine. You don't research. You don't read what they publish. You don't keep up because you don't have to. There's no recertification. You don't become. You don't have to go recertify every couple of years to maintain your
yeah.
license to be a practicing psychiatrist. There's no requirement whatsoever.
Right.
If the psychiatrist that had my mother on electroshock therapy in the 1950s, thankfully, has probably passed away because he'd be about 100 and some now. But had he not passed away, or she, they'd still go around going, well, I thought that kind of worked. Let's try that again. That whole lobotomy
Try
thing
it
wasn't
again.
such a
Yeah.
bad idea. That whole lobotomy thing wasn't such a bad idea. There is some electroshock therapy now
You,
coming around, but it's different. It's just different. They're
yeah,
doing it differently. They're able to see what's going on in the
yeah,
brain and apply it differently rather than just shock you and see what happened.
yeah. It's like electrode stimulation, almost like electrical stimulation
The
over like
targeting certain areas,
voltage over
they're trying to
voltage
right,
shocking.
rather than just shock your whole body and see what happened. They're actually monitoring the
Yeah,
brain and targeting certain areas, trying to awaken
yeah,
certain sensors to get it happening normal. When you look at my brain on a monitor right now, it is functioning so fast. There's so much going on in there that it's almost comical to look at because you see this person that seems like he's running a million miles and everything, and I got it. You see it on a computer, and look at my brain, go, oh my God, his brain really is running a million miles an hour. It is, and they're still trying to figure out why it's happening
yeah.
naturally.
I'm curious, did they note that you have additional gray matter than most brains?
I don't know. I didn't ask that question, so I don't know the answer. I didn't ask that question. The whole neurology thing, it just
I,
I look forward to the testing side of it and seeing what goes on with anticipation. But they're trying. Here comes the lab rat in. Let's see what works with him, and
yeah,
that's okay as long as it's just that. But where does it go to the next step of okay, now let's try to slow it down or speed it up? Can we do that chemically? Can we do that with stimulus? Can we speed it up and slow it down and control that? That's where they're going with it. They're hoping that they can figure out how to speed up and slow it down to help people with dementia, with Alzheimer's, with brain injuries, with whatever the case may be. Well, there has to be a person we're trying that with. Well, I don't know if I'm ready for that yet. I don't think I'm ready to be that person. You can look
yeah.
at it and see what's happening. I don't want it to go. I don't want it to go wrong. I'm messed up enough. I got enough issues. I don't need it to go wrong. So
When you're
there's
gone,
that
will you
fear.
donate your brain to science?
Oh,
Say, here you
absolutely,
go.
absolutely. It's all
I
theirs.
got it when
It's
I'm
all
done with
theirs.
it.
It's all theirs. If they want it, they can have it. They can have it all. Good luck. Good luck with this one.
Yeah, when you're done, when I think like that, when I'm done with this, you can have my brain and go pick it apart and
There was a lot of athletes. There was a lot of
stuff.
professional athletes when it became a trendy thing with the brain injuries. There's a lot of professional football players here in America that were committing suicide in their prime. Well, not necessarily their prime, but they're in their 50s, 40s, 50s. They were generally healthy, and they're committing suicide. They're
Yeah,
wealthy and doing, but why are they killing themselves? What's going on here? Junior Seau was one. He's a Hall of Fame linebacker. Another guy, David Durson. David Durson actually committed suicide by shooting himself in the chest and had already set his head aside to be examined. He wrote the paperwork and everything so he could take his head. He committed suicide by shooting himself in the chest so he didn't damage his head in any way. Junior Seau actually killed himself and shot himself in the head, so there's not much there to work with. But a lot of athletes have said, okay, take my brain, let's go see what's going on when I'm gone. And I'm sure other people are doing that too. I know they can absolutely have mine. I hope they want
right.
it. I hope so. I hope somebody wants it to figure out.
I I